Chloe, welcome to the interview today. I'm really excited about having the opportunity to interview you because we've worked together before, and I think what you've done over the years at Legacy has been terrific, particularly in the area of case management and developing a case management model that I think has just delivered just an awesome value to the veteran community, and in particular what Legacy does. And I think it's high time that more and more people learn about how that works and how that can be deployed in other areas as well. So welcome along.
Thank you.
So first of all, let's just find out a little bit about Legacy and what you do at Legacy, and maybe even touch on what are the differences between, say, Legacy and RSL, which is a common thing that people often don't understand.
Yeah. So Melbourne Legacy is a non-for-profit charity that's been around for 97 years now. Legacy is different from majority of ESOs because we actually place a focus on supporting the families of veterans. So in a sense, we're taking away that veteran-centric focus that we quite often find in ex and current serving ADF families, and we place that focus on the well-being of the family unit as a whole. So Legacy is different definitely in that aspect. We also have a very broad range of service delivery, and when I say that it's broad, we have these education, case management and mental health and program domains that we reach out to a huge range of demographics. So we have our beneficiaries with a disability, we have our older adults, which are typically known as our World War II Vietnam widows, which we look after them through pensions, advocacy, and a wide range of supports. But we also have moved into the domain of our post-1991 conflict families, who are also commonly referred to in this space as contemporary families, which working in that area has been complex because when we first moved into that area, it was very new, and it was very new to this sector. So it wasn't just new for us, it was new for this whole area of ex-service organisations and the complex issues that are found in that family dynamic. So Legacy was one of the first ESOs that I'm aware of that were actually going down the realm of hiring professional staff. So we moved from that volunteer model through to an actual level of professional service delivery and case management, which has really led the way with those families.
So one of the things I picked up over the years of working with you and the team at Legacy, but also some of the research we've been doing, we put a little survey out a few months back looking at veteran wellbeing and engagement, and just the amount of comments and the complexity of what's going on out there. And there are people who were perfectly fine and happy with their, really succeeded as a result of their service, and some families have really benefited from it as well. But the variety of issues and problems that people have, and some of them are actually quite small and easy to solve, and some of them more complex. What does that say about our understanding of the environment? Because I think it's perhaps sometimes a little bit oversimplified. And for example, what is a family these days compared to maybe what they were considering way back when Legacy first started? It would have been quite the traditional nuclear family, and now I bet you it's way more complicated than what it was back then.
Yeah, and I think in challenging that traditional belief that sort of a lot of these organisations have been built on when they were first established has been a really core part of trying to implement those professional services. So when I first started, we had no clear definition. There was, I would almost say it was debatable up to the individual person's interpretation. So to try and keep things simple, I just went with the ABS, the Australian statistical definition of what a family is, and said, let's run with this. Working with the complexities, they're so varied, and when I say you don't know what you're walking into that day at work with the next phone call, I wholeheartedly mean that. It could be an elderly widow saying, I need help getting to a specialist appointment, and we just express mail some cab charges, job done. Or it could be, I'm on the side of the road with my 2 kids because I've just had to flee domestic violence. So it's a very varied role, and you need to have a wide range of skills in relation to crisis intervention, critical thinking. It's just a continuous work in progress trying to master that service delivery.
So, Chloe, you're a professional social worker, right? You've
Yes.
got qualifications and you've got a team of social workers there. What is the difference between having professional social workers supported by, say, veteran supporters or people in the sector? Is there a balance that needs to be had for that for the delivery of the sort of service that you're providing at the moment?
Yeah, there's a definite balance that needs to be had. I think the professional staff is a really important part of this work because it provides that framework and that understanding of, the theoretical frameworks behind why certain things happen or why families work in a certain dynamic. And it really gives that great intensive understanding. It's also very important because these professionals legally have to abide by a certain set of ethics and principles. So that in relation to just that professionalism and those boundaries, that they're going to be set. It's also very important to have a range of people in this sector who may not necessarily have those degrees, but they have that personal understanding of the veteran community and what the needs are. And they have that ability to approach these families in a non-formal way. And I think that's where our legatees and where peer support programs are just so important. It's easy for me to speak to a veteran about what's going on and make recommendations for referrals, but it's not easy for me to talk to the veteran about his service history because I just don't understand what half the terminology is. Whereas a peer support worker or a legatee could call that veteran and they could talk for, an hour and a half and unpack the service.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I guess one of the things that I think you're touching on here is that you've said that Legacy's focused on families, but where there's a family, there's usually a veteran involved.
mm-hmm.
And sometimes, where there's a veteran involved, there's usually some family connection somewhere. So obviously that opens up the door for collaboration, and I guess it highlights the importance of collaboration. What are some of the initiatives that you've been undertaking lately to sort of develop that collaboration with other agencies and ex-service organisations? And does the collaboration have to be with ex-service organisations to get good results as well?
Yeah, so there's definitely been some great collaboration happening in the space of the Open Arms peer support program and Melbourne Legacy. So we've been working very closely with them to develop a referral process that captures the needs of the family and captures the needs of the veteran. So that's been a little initiative that we've been doing on the side, which has been really successful. So utilising those kind of programs is really important. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I don't think you mentioned in any detail, but I think it's a really just one of the most tremendous things that Legacy does, and it's around the disability area. Could you give us just a brief outline of what that's about and why it's so important?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this sector, some of our most vulnerable are our beneficiaries with a disability who are normally the children of Vietnam veterans who are now sort of in their 50s to 60s.
These are the children you're talking about, are in their 50s and 60s?
Yep, the children of Vietnam veterans, yep. So they're sort of aging out of the disability space into the aged care space. So a lot of them have grown up with our camps and our recreation days through Legacy. So we try and maintain that support by providing case management, and also we facilitate once every 2 months a recreation day where we get them all in and we go bowling, and we just really try and keep that united sort of family feel that they've grown up with through Legacy. So
you maintain. So my understanding is you maintain that commitment to them for their entire life.
Yep, forever. Yep. So once we have a beneficiary with a disability enroll with us who, they're getting to that older age and they need that support, we will support them for as long as we need. So
there's a reasonable chance that some of those people will obviously survive their parents as well, and so Legacy will perhaps be probably the main family, the connections that they have.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, a lot of them, their parents have passed away quite a while ago. So some of them have had very negative experiences growing up in a system, growing up without those connections. So through our program, we have some of our beneficiaries with a disability will call us every week just to see how we're going, to tell us about their life and what they've been up to. And I just think that's such an important outlet for them. in a day where a case manager might be busy, for them it's just a 20-minute interaction, but for this person with a disability, it may be the only interaction they've had with another human that week.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's
So
very
I think
important.
it's a tremendous commitment that Legacy's made to those people. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I wanted to really spend a bit of time with you talking about case management, because I think this is really important, because we talk about the complexity of all these environments, and I think there's a sort of almost this simplistic, and it's everybody wants to go for an easy way to look at things. So there's this sort of idea that you've got this list of, when we went through it, a few years back, I'm pretty sure, you sort of go, well, what's the list of things we do? And we'll just make it into a big catalogue, and you just sort of tick and flick on it, make a system out of it, and away you go. You've problem solved. You can put it up on the website, and you can give people work instructions and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't work that way, does it? And one of the things I think we discovered is that probably there's only one real service, and that was case management. And I think it'd be really good if you could tell us about the case management model and why it replaces, I guess, big lists of services, and this notion that people have this sort of standardised set of needs that can be easily mapped across the sector.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially the whole principle of the case management model is that everyone is different, every case is different, and every situation has 3 or 4 different ways that it can be handled.
Mm-hmm.
So the case management model's theoretical sort of approach is a holistic psychosocial model of assessment. So when I say psychosocial, I mean it is taking psychological, social, and all other issues into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do an assessment with a new family, it's not just, the administrative, where do you live? We go through a very comprehensive assessment that will capture pretty much all domains in their life, including education, employment, mental health, any sort of risks or current legal issues. We really capture that essence of what that person is going through. We then, from the plan with the family, will formulate a case management plan. So these plans are client-led. We don't tell the client what they should be doing. The client tells us what they want to be doing.
But what are some of the things that could be in the mix? I mean, I'm thinking things such as, financial counselling might be part of a solution, housing support, maybe things for the kids, that kind of thing. Is that sort of typical sort of mix, or have you got
it's pretty standard mix. We generally have our sort of short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. So we might have a family, they might say, short-term, I want to relocate and be closer to my family, so I have more support. Medium-term, I would really like to look into doing a Cert 4 in community services. Long-term, I would really, really like to be able to work on my relationship and repair the relationship with my partner. So the goals are varied. We do like to look at them in a time.
So the thing is, it's not just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. Oh, you want to move from A to B, so we're going to help you make that move, because it's got to be part of a bigger picture sort of thing for you to sort of really understand what's the ultimate objectives here, and so you're sort of pushing that out in a longer term situation. Okay.
Absolutely. And we set all families' eventual goal through Legacy. Our measure of success of case management is self-reliance. So if this family is relocating to have social and emotional support and potentially more employment opportunities, they're more likely to be self-reliant. So
you're successful when the family's moved off basically from the books in many ways.
When they don't re-engage, that's a good thing for us.
That must be incredibly satisfying.
It is. It is.
So you guys are a professional outfit. How do you maintain your professional standing and supervision and all that sort of thing in terms of what's going on with the way you deliver these services? I mean, how is the public assured that what you're doing is a good thing and it's not just from the bottom of your heart sort of stuff?
So there's a couple of different ways in which we're able to ensure that we're sort of practicing in line with best practice methods, and we're continually reviewing and updating our processes. The first one is being social workers. We all obviously have certain accreditations and certain standards that we need to work towards and maintain. The second thing is we are able to access individual and group professional supervision services, which has been really beneficial. So if we do have a case that we're unsure about or we're not sure what the best direction is, instead of just guessing and trying to do what we think's best, we can actually take this case to a collaborative session with our entire team and a professional supervisor who is a psychologist, and have an in-depth discussion about where we're at with this case. We also have some other external resources, such as the Practitioner Support Service through Phoenix, Australia. That's a great resource. So there's a wide range of ways in which we can ensure that we're practicing to the best standard and we're making decisions that are in the best interest of our families.
Yeah. And have you got any perhaps little stories? Obviously you can't say who's who, but any little sort of stories or examples of recent cases that you've been sort of happy with the outcome, or it sort of, you know, led to some collaboration or something just a little bit special?
Yeah. So I've had a recent beneficiary with a disability who has sort of finally had the case closed, which was very satisfying. I was working with them for about 3 years. When I first met them, they had a wide range of emotional and physical health issues. Through some very intensive collaboration with both their external GP, their psychologist, and also utilising the practitioner support service, I was able to sort of work out a case management plan that was over a 2-year period.
And sorry, did that case management plan include all those people, did it?
Yeah. It was a collaborative case management plan that included a lot of input from a lot of different agencies. The end goal was to get her out of supported accommodation into independent living, and also provide her with the equipment, the physical aids, and the mental health support to do that. Safe to say, about 3 months ago, she moved into her own unit. She now just has a home care worker that comes once a day and gets Meals on Wheels, and she's pretty self-sufficient. She's living independently. Her mental health has just improved. And yeah, we've just given her that quality of life again to participate in the community and to feel independent and have her privacy. So I think that's a really great achievement, and it just shows what that collaboration can achieve.
Yeah. And I guess last year I remember sitting in a room up there, probably that very room you're sitting at the moment. and I think collectively, and I think a lot of it came from, I think, your suggestion, we coined the phrase, there's always something we can do. And I think that's a really powerful message, isn't there? So for families or veterans who are concerned about their families, what sort of things can they do to access legacy services if they just need to find out what's available for them and things like that?
Yeah, of course. So the first thing I would generally refer our families to do is just look at our website, have a look at our programs and our services on offer, have a look at, the wellbeing and education support that we have available, and send an inquiry. There's a portal on there. Just send an email. It'll come straight through to my team and they'll be able to give you a call and reach out. Obviously, the second option is just call us direct. If you just want to test the waters and see what's out there, that's fine. You don't have to call us for an intake. You can call and just have a general chat about someone you're worried about, or if you want to self-refer, that's fine.
Yeah. And so Legacy relies heavily on public donations, doesn't it? And grants and things like that. And this year you've had quite a challenge in the normal badge day type thing, which I think was supposed to be last week, wasn't it? And I think one of the things that I'd like to encourage anybody watching this video, if you get a moment, have a think about the work that Legacy are doing and how good they are. They really do make a big difference in people's lives, and they've made a big commitment to the veteran community, and have delivered on that for over 100 years now, isn't it? For you guys,
almost at the centenary.
Almost at the century, nearly 100 years, and they're doing so in a very constructive and collaborative way. So we'll put a link on our site and at the end of this video to give people the opportunity to work out, to show them where they go to make a donation to Melbourne Legacy. And if you want to jump the gun, just go to their website and you'll see a donate button on the website. And I encourage you to do it, because I haven't had the chance to rattle the tin this year. And I think it'd be a great thing for them to receive a little bit of extra community support, because it makes a huge difference. I know it makes a huge difference to your team and the sorts of things that you're able to deliver, particularly the younger kids and some of the elderly folk too, because they need that extra help as well.
Yep, absolutely.
All
Every
right, Chloe.
dollar counts.
Chloe, that was excellent. Thanks very much for meeting with us today and telling us all about legacy and case management process, and wish you well.
Thank you so much.